Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another Victory Monday. Red hot Philadelphia Eagles with 10 straight victories. A huge win yesterday in the Battle of Pennsylvania. Eagles went out and just dominated the line of scrimmage. A nice 27-13 win over the Steelers. I mean, dominated time of possession. I mean, Christ, almost 2-1. Eagles had the ball 39-52 to the Steelers 20-08. And also, what a last drive of the game. I mean, Sean, Pittsburgh punts the ball on 4th and 8. Eagles get the ball with 10 minutes and what was it, Sean? 10 minutes, 13 seconds left?
10 minutes, 13 seconds. Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Yeah, and the Eagles took a 4-minute drive into a 10-minute drive, controlled the clock, ran the game out. And won their 10th straight, and honestly, pretty much dominated a really good Pittsburgh team. I know that they had a couple turnovers. TJ Watt, great player that he is, forced the fumble.
That peanut punch, bro. I'll talk about that when we get started. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so it got a little dicey, and in parts in the first half, but. Defense stepped up, only gave up 3 points off the 2 turnovers, and huge Eagles win. So we're going to get into that. That'll be, we'll start off with that, and then of course, we'll get in a little bit of Sixers. The big man came back last week. We were kind of getting excited. He had a good performance in Chicago, and gotta wonder if Joel Embiid is cursed, Sean, because. He comes back, scores 30, and on a Sunday when nobody's really watching because there's football on, and then Friday night, poor guy gets hit in the face. Now he's got a fractured sinus. What is it? A fractured sinus bone?
Fractured sinus cavity bone. Yeah, it's typical for the porcelain doll. What do you expect?
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, I mean, I feel bad. I feel bad for him for this one. I mean, some of his injuries.
Yeah.
Some of his injuries. When it comes from being out of shape or stuff like that. I mean, I could give him a little bit of fault, but these facial injuries. I mean, are just bad luck. I mean, my God, the guy. I've never seen a guy have more facial fractures.
I think he has three total from. Michael Carter, Williams, Fultz, and now this one, basically. I think 3 of them. I think it's time to wear the Phantom of the Opera mask.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, remember Richard Hamilton wore the mask, and then I think he wore it for the rest of his career.
He said it was almost like a good luck charm, and plus he felt comfortable because the game has gotten physical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you take, we played ball. When you take a basketball to the face, or God forbid an elbow, let alone anything, it's gonna rock you. And hopefully he's all right. But yeah, man, he's got a dark injury cloud bug over him for sure.
Yeah, so we'll touch on that, and then of course we got a Flyers team. Playing decent hockey, they had a nice win over a nice win in Columbus last week. Nice win against Detroit. Minnesota kicked their ass on Saturday, but Minnesota is one of the best teams in hockey, and and for a rebuilding team, that's a tough spot to go to Minnesota and play them. So, we'll show the Flyers a little bit of love, and then of course the Phillies. I mean, you've got teams in the division. You got Soto signing with the Mets. You got. Even the Oakland A's went out and got Severino, and the Phillies, Cubs go out and get Kyle Tucker. There was rumors that the Phillies were interested in him.
Bellinger, I believe, is going to the Yankees. Joey,
who?
Bellinger, Yankees.
Oh, he did.
I think it's believed he's going to sign something, or
Go right, yeah. Yeah, because I saw the Yankees traded for Devin Williams too, the closer from
Yeah, how about that, man?
the Brewers. So we'll get a little Phillies talk too. But anyway, we're going to open with let's open with the hot topic, which is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I got no Diego tonight. Diego had to work, but I got my man Sean. So Sean, what's going on, bro?
What's up, man? Victory Monday, like always. Go Birds.
So, all right. Well, anyway, we got Eagles here, and I got a question right here.
Yeah.
And then I got a couple comments. So first off, I got my man Mike Fuji. Mike Fuji says, "What's good, fellas? Hey, what's up, Mike? How you doing?" I watched some of Mike's show last Wednesday. It was really I didn't see it Wednesday. I think I watched it Thursday, but I know he does the show Wednesday. But it was really interesting because Lauren Hart put out some stuff that I only knew her as the obviously from the Flyers national anthem, but but she's done a lot of other things too. So it was kind of interesting. So make sure you check that out if you get a chance. It was a really interesting show. Here's our man Maurice Wright says not scoring points in the first quarter is not good. If that's their strategy, then okay, it's working. I just don't think it's going to work during the playoffs. Defense got them 20 points. Yeah, but I mean they didn't get a touchdown the first drive, but I was encouraged by the first drive. I mean, they moved it right down the field. I know they kind of bogged down when we got a field goal, but with the way their first drives usually go, I was actually encouraged by that one.
Yeah, I mean, just the way the Steelers were all looking to defend the run and just let us pass happy. Which you had A.J. Brown, 110 yards. As well as Devontae Slim Reaper getting that, But yeah, all in all, great showing of Hurts, with a broken finger on his non-throwing hand, and just like you brought up earlier, total dominance of time of possession. But the thing that I loved the most was Jalen Carter said to Jordan Davis, you don't help up the former Georgia Bulldog on the Steelers. He's like, we don't play at Georgia no more. Let him get his ass up on his own.
It's funny. It's funny you said that because I like that too. Now I was a little pissed at Jalen Carter for the stupid penalty in the game, but the bottom line is I do love the attitude. Like number one, I like Quinyon Mitchell and the guy sticking up for Slay. That's number one.
The brotherhood, man.
Yeah, and you sent me the compare contrast between last year when, let's keep it real, the 49ers came here and straight up punked the Eagles on their field. I mean, the Niners came up in this, John, like they were mad disrespectful, and nobody on the Eagles did shit to them. Now this year all of a sudden, who I think plays a big role in the attitude of this team? C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
He does, man. He
brings that swag.
Yeah, he's that voice. He gets in your head. He's that pest, And that's something you need. But at the same time, you got your boys, your brothers. They're gonna definitely take no shit.
Yeah. That's one thing. I got a comment here is E-Money Bentley, go Birds. Hell yeah, go Birds. Keep that
money.
But I love the I love the attitude of this football team. I love the attitude of the defense in particular. Like we were just saying, like Eagles had two, Eagles get the lead, and then you have two big turnovers. And the defense balls the fuck up, stops them, holds them to a field goal. To me, I thought that was one of the. I thought there were a couple key moments in the game. Holding the 3 there was the first turning point, and then I think the other one was when Pittsburgh in the second half. Pittsburgh was driving a little bit, and they did the toss to Najee Harris, and he fumbled the ball. I was
going to say that was definitely a turning point when you made him fumble. And shockingly, it went to Darius Little play Slay, like I call him. But yeah, I mean, defense wins championships. Exactly. You know, like Mo said it, my dad always said it. You know, it's the truth, man. But like you said, this year's different, man. They just play together. They back each other up. Like you said, Quinyon Mitchell's a rookie, and he's got, like they said, and all the Twitter and all this, he has his OG, you know, and that's good, man. That's what it's all about, backing up, and it's a brotherhood. You know, you want to hit him, you're going to go through me.
Yeah, who's starting to jump off the screen a little bit to me too? Nolan Smith.
Yes, I was going to send you something. You know, he's fast, like you said, Joey. I mean, it was on Twitter. It kind of reminisces and reminds him of BG, you know, when he first played.
Yeah.
You know, he's got great first step. It's all about technique, and his technique is pretty good. It's only going to get better as he plays more and, you know, as the years come. So hopefully the future's bright for him. Yeah. I like the way he gets off the edge.
Yeah, and you know who's quietly having a really good year, and he's really not getting much pub, but Josh Sweat's actually having a really nice year. He looks a lot more like the Josh Sweat of 21 and 22 than last year. Because I mean, he was a major disappointment last year, especially down the stretch. But this year, I mean, he's getting some good edge rushing. You know what I mean? Because you know, a lot of people thought, especially with BG going down, that we were going to have some issues at the edge. And as the year goes on, I still think they're going to wind up missing BG as some of these weeks go on. But right now, Sweat's playing good football. Nolan Smith's playing good football. I mean, you know, these guys are playing well. And you know, you brought him up, bro. Jalen Carter is just a straight up beast. Yeah, I mean, Jalen Carter dominates the line of scrimmage.
I just love his tenacity. His hands, if he works on his hands more in the offseason, like I've always said it, like Aaron Donald, he's going to be a menace, man. And it's awesome. That's what you need.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I agree with Maurice right here. I think this kid Jalix Hunt, I think this kid's got something.
He does. It's just all about getting the yips, you know, like you know, you being a rookie, you're going to have your ups and downs. Once you get on the field, you get more accustomed to it. You feel as though you belong on that field, even though you might not start. It's not your time, and he's giving it 110%, man, and that's what I love.
Yeah. I'd say, I mean, you know, he's, you know, for a third round pick from a small school. You know, we really didn't think you were going to get much out of him this year, but he's you know, that you put him in there and you're not like, he doesn't, I guess the biggest compliment I'd give him is he doesn't look overmatched in there. You know what I mean? Like he, you know, when he's in there replacing a Josh Sweat or replacing a Nolan Smith, you know, it's not like you're like, oh, damn, like, you know, let's hope he doesn't screw up here. No, he's filling in pretty good.
Plain and simple, he's up for the challenge. And that's what it looks like, you know. You have to be, because you don't know when it's going to be your last snap, play, you know. He could get yanked and somebody else could be in there. But as the way he's playing, he's seizing the moment, man, you know, which I love.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about defense. I mean, you know, and I have down here biggest win of the year, and I'll get your perspective in a minute. My perspective is it definitely is the biggest win of the year because you beat a good Pittsburgh team. The other thing is too is that, you know, we all know the Eagles, you know, the way they're built, even though they have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, even though they have great weapons on the outside. This is mostly a running football team and a defensive football team. That's their identity that they've established. But you look yesterday, Jalen Hurts, 25 out of 32, 290 yards, total control of the game right from the start. I mean, the first drive, he hits Cal Quinchera on a 22-yard pass. You know, he immediately gets AJ Brown involved. He gets Devontae Smith involved. I mean, you know, you touched on this earlier. A.J. Brown, 8 catches, 110 yards. Devontae Smith, 11 catches, 109 yards. They both scored touchdowns. You know, the running, because, you know, Pittsburgh's pretty tough against the run. So I mean, the run, it was a little tough sledding as far as running goes. Saquon at 19 for 65. Average 3.4. I thought Kenny Gainwell didn't have great. Gainwell didn't have great numbers per se. Like he had 7 carries, 20 yards, and then he had 3 catches for 40 yards. But I feel like he made an impact though, and that one spin move was really good.
You're right. When you say that impact, he had certain runs and pass catching when it mattered most. They were key. You know what I'm saying? He might not get as many touches and carries as Saquon. I think he gets that, but when he's in, he's pretty reliable. Like, I didn't think he was, but boy, is he proving me wrong.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you what, for a guy like Gainwell who doesn't get the ball a lot, what he did yesterday is exactly what you need him to do. I mean, Jalen hits him. Jalen hits him on a 3rd down in the flat, makes that nice spin move, gets a big first down. Yeah. He had a few other plays where I think he got big first downs. You know what I mean? Like I think out of what he did, if memory serves me correct, I think he got at least 2 or 3 first downs in big spots.
Yes,
and that's that's the kind of shit that you need a guy like Kenny Gainwell to do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and the good thing about it too is since we're talking about the game, kicking the field goal when it matters most with Jake Elliott, and then Hurts seeing the field, unlike other times, surveying the field, looking for his players and his reads. It was a different Jalen, and I think he wanted to prove critics wrong of all the media shit that him and Jay Hurts ain't boys. He said, I'm going to put a squash to this and an end to this, and boy, did he.
Yeah, they squashed that John early. Here's Maurice Wright says that he says what we watched Sunday from Gainwell is basically playoff power. They'll definitely need 2 backs in the postseason. Yeah, they will, and that's that was actually a hidden fact in the 2022 run. I know you remember, Sean, but like Gainwell was really good in that Giants playoff game. Gainwell played well there, and he also played pretty good against the Niners. Gainwell made some plays in both.
Yes, he did. Key plays. Yep.
And so I agree with Maurice Wright. I think that as good as Saquon is, I think you do need to involve a second back in there periodically, especially considering I didn't hear Sirianni's press conference today, but Saquon got a little banged. That was one negative about the game yesterday. The Eagles got a little banged up. Like I know Landon Dickerson got banged up. I know Saquon got a little banged up. Even AJ Brown at the end. So we got a little injuries. Injury bug a little bit, but hopefully they'll all be fine.
Well, I'm going to bring up those two players that you brought up. Minkah Fitzpatrick, that hit. It seems I watch him a lot because I like watching the secondary. He goes at guys' knees, and if you look at it and rewind it or whatever DVR, he's actually going for Saquon's knees as well as other players in the past, and I think that's what kind of banged up Saquon, because you don't have much padding on the side of your pants. You know what I'm saying? And then 2, that was a hip tackle that did to AJ Brown.
Yeah,
clear as day. You can see it. But good.
No, I was going to say I hear you, but it sucks when it's your guy getting hurt, but it is hard to police that shit, though, Sean. I mean, it's such a bang game.
I get that, but you can't put the brakes on. Once you're committed, you're committed. Like I said, like with the Sidney Brown hit, like on the kickoff, you can't put the brakes on. Shit like that happens. You can't cut it or stop it. Yeah. And just go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just to end on a note, TJ Watt, boy, is he relentless, man. His motor I just love his technique and the way he leads the league in fumble. And
Yeah.
he was balling with Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson said, I think I sent it to you, he needed a couple shots after that game.
Yeah, I know what a matchup, and it's funny because you mentioned how Mika Fitzpatrick goes for guys' knees. It's almost like this guy hired him to get some clients. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because anytime I think injuries, I think of my man Jason Fine, aka Attorney Big Al. Motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workers' compensation, or personal injury claims. He's got 3 offices throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey, 1 in Philadelphia, 1 in Cherry Hill, and 1 in Pittsburgh. So hey, he could help both teams out. The Battle of PA there. Jason Fine could get some clients. You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think? Maybe some of the Steelers maybe had a bounty. He's like, yo, get me some money up in here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we officially made Russell Old Man Wilson 6-1. So enjoy that.
Yeah.
Yeah. True, Mo. Every now and then a player has to take one for the team. Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. I mean, like I said, you look at this team, and so now, and they got some help yesterday because Buffalo beat Detroit.
That was a great game.
Boy, Josh, man,
he's
I'll tell you what.
When he runs, he wants to impose pain on you and score. And I gotta know what McDermott's thinking. Like, yo, man, settle down, pump the brakes. But he's that quarterback, man. He's hungry.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Like I went down I went out. I met Anthony out and a couple guys out. We went down to Reese's down the street, and they had so of course it was the Eagles game. We're on the big TVs, but they had the Bills game in a middle TV too. So obviously I was watching. Of course, my prime focus was on the Eagles, but I watched a good portion of the Bills game too, and you could see, like, you could see how how great Josh Allen is, how they were moving the ball, and the one thing, I mean, obviously I wanted Detroit to lose, because I want us to catch them. Boy, Detroit is like the walking wounded, though. I can't remember the last time I've seen a team have this many injuries. I mean,
they're banged up, but they ball. Yeah, you're right. You got Hutchinson, now David Montgomery out with a torn MCL. I mean,
yeah, the defensive tackle that they had versus that was playing well. I think his name was, what was his name? McNeil, I think.
McNeil, yes, exactly.
He's out. They lost the second. I think they lost Carlton Davis, I think, is out too. They lost him. I mean, they got a lot of
key guys. Yeah.
They got some issues. And, so going forward, I mean, I have right here Super Bowl question mark. And then Maurice Wright has a comment. He says, what do you guys think about Eagles versus Bills Super Bowl? Well, I'll tell you what, Eagles versus Bills Super Bowl, I don't know. I would love to see it, but considering both our fan bases and how unlikely that seemed over the years, I don't know, Sean. We might have to do some end of the world prep, dude. You know what I'm saying? The comment might be coming if that Super Bowl happens.
That'll be total chaos.
Well, you see, I mean,
700 level versus the Mafia.
Well, you see all these drones and these all this shit that's in the air. I've been on like Twitter and X and all this shit, and they show all the drones, and then they show like dudes are being on there. They're like, oh, what's this orb? It's like, it almost makes you wonder, like, if it's Eagles versus Bills Super Bowl, are we going to see one of them? Like, remember War of the Worlds where they started spraying? They started all of a sudden lightning struck the same spot like 6 times. If it's Eagles Bills and we see that, John, we got to head for the hills, brother. You know what I mean? Might have some issues, It'll
be pretty interesting Super Bowl, And I'm curious to see how the severity of the high ankle sprain is for Patty Mahomes.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, the Bills have what? 3 Bills have 3 losses, right? But but Mahomes is week to week, and the Bills have tiebreaker over the Chiefs. So you figure the Chiefs got a tough last few games. I think the Chiefs got Houston, They play at Pittsburgh, I believe, and then I think they're at Denver.
Wow.
So I'll tell you what, if Mahomes isn't right, they could lose any of those 3 games, and if they lose 2 of those 3 and the Bills win out, the Bills are the 1 seed.
Let it be.
I could see that. I could see that happening. The only thing about the Bills, though, now, and I know the Lions are really explosive on offense, so maybe it's not really a fair. But look at the Bills' defense, though. They gave up 40 burgers each of the last 2 weeks. So I mean, as good as good as they are on offense, and as scared as I am as Josh Allen, and I may regret saying this, but I like the Eagles in the Super Bowl versus the Bills, because the Eagles have a good offense too. I feel like
we have a more complete defense, plain simple. Yeah.
I feel like as great as Josh Allen is, I feel like our defense and our in particular our speed on defense. I feel like the Eagles defense could find a way to make a stop or two, and with our running game, we could control the ball against Buffalo and keep Josh Allen off the field like that. Like, to me, if it does come down to that, I feel like that's where the Eagles' running game and offensive line really comes into play. Like, you almost want to play like the Giants did versus the K-Gun in like 1990, where you ball control and control that ball for 35, 36 minutes, keep that kid off the field.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so anything stick out to you from around the league yesterday? We touched on the Bills beating Detroit. Pat Mahomes obviously getting hurt. Did anything around about the league stick out to you?
Had a little injury scare with the Miami Dolphins and that wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
That Joe Burrow breaking the touchdown record for the Bengals. It's a shame he's that good of a player with his 2 wide receivers, and his Sidney Brown's brother Chase. He's starting to fill out as a nice little serviceable running back.
I'll tell you, that kid can play some football. That's one thing that sticks out to me a little bit. Like the Bengals.
Yeah.
The Bengals are a team that they need a lot of help to get in the playoffs. Their defense fucking blows. Their defense is horrible. But I'll tell you what, if I'm in the AFC, I want no parts of the Bengals getting in the playoffs. For the simple fact that their offense is so good that you could get into like a 40-point shootout versus them. You know what I mean? Like if I'm in the AFC, I don't. Even though their defense blows, I want no parts of seeing Burrow and Chase and them guys, because they can score on anybody.
Yeah. And just like Mo says, as an Eagles fan, a former quarterback, I want to ask you, how do you feel about Jalen Hurts' performance so far this season? Is he ready for serious playoff play? I mean, if I get the Jalen Hurts from me yesterday, Now, as the previous games and stuff, like where we were bitching and moaning, no. Because yesterday, both offense and defense gelled and were playing on all cylinders. So that's how I see it, And just like we said before we get on, we could see them going to the bowl, I'm hoping. But it just has to be the same kind of productivity week in and week out every Sunday.
Yesterday was very encouraging. That was yesterday. Yesterday was the Jalen Hurts of 2022. I mean, he came out there. He was decisive with the ball.
Yep.
And he's, in all fairness to Jalen, though, he's played like that a few games. I mean, he was really good against Cincinnati too. Played, you know what I mean? Like, so, it's not like Jalen. I mean, I think we got to be a little fair. I mean, Jalen looked like shit against. He kind of looked like shit against Baltimore, and he looked like shit against Carolina.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, I thought he played pretty deep. I thought he played pretty good in LA against the Rams, and I thought he looked. And I thought for the most part, the other thing is too, like, it's hard. like Sean, you've watched football all these years, right? Like sometimes it's hard to be a quarterback on a run-based team, because when you're a quarterback on a run-based team, it's hard to get in a rhythm as a passer because you're running the ball so much. If you're only throwing the ball 20 sometimes a game, it's hard to get that rhythm in the passing game.
True.
You know what I mean?
True, but at the same time, you're practicing. You should know that that blanket. You know where AJ is going to be, Devontae. Just like yesterday, it's a shame with our tight end. It's either Uzma or Calcaterra because Dallas is hurt. But I get what you're saying, But I just want to see the product moving forward. The Jalen I seen yesterday, and do like Josh Allen when he runs, Hurts angry runs, like the way he runs.
Yeah,
he can impose his will on people. But I get it. Maybe it's in the back of his head. He doesn't want to get hurt. I get that. But what I saw yesterday, I really was impressed.
Yeah. Paul Spencer says, look out, Cowboys are making a run. We beat the Panthers. I feel Eagles versus Bills Super Bowl, but it's got to be smart Kellen Moore game. Run, control the clock. I agree with you. I think that would be the game plan. The only thing that would change is if see, that's one thing that would scare me a little bit with the Eagles slow starts, because even though our defense is really good, say the Eagles get off to a slow start and Buffalo gets like a 2-score lead, then all of a sudden it changes the complexion of the game,
Yeah.
And then Paul Spencer says Montgomery out for the year. Yeah, we touched on that earlier. That's a big loss for
a big blow. Well, Gibbs got to step up. He's a hell of a running back. He's shifty, can hit the holes real well. A former Bama product, so yeah, he's got big shoes to fill. So
yeah, what's funny? I'm gonna make a call now. I want to get into predicting the Washington game next week, but I'm gonna get into a prediction for next week too. I'm already calling. I think it's going to be in the 20s in Chicago next week when the Detroit plays at the Bears.
Yeah.
I'm calling Chicago beats Detroit outright in Chicago. With as banged up as Detroit is, it's going to be cold as balls. Jared Goff has had a great year. He's a hell of a quarterback, but in 20-some degrees with the small hands, and now they lose Montgomery too. So Gibbs is going to have to carry the whole load, and it's like I said, it's going to be cold as shit. I think Chicago's going to beat them outright next week.
19-14.
Yeah. Here we go. Oh, here's our fellow Notre Dame fan says, "Are you ready? Friday night, Notre Dame versus Indiana. Yeah, that's going to be a good game.
Damn right, in state rivalry. Let's go, baby. Come on.
I'll tell you what. Notre Dame can't lose that game, man. I mean, I know Indiana's a good football team, but you don't want to lose it to Indiana in South Bend, in the state of Indiana. That'd be rough.
Absolutely. The jersey you have on, I was over at Brian's house with my cousin Billy, who's a graduate of West Point. I just was so disgusted to see Army play the way they played Saturday. It was like horrendous, man. The coach looked like a rookie coach from the beginning of the season till now. I mean, kept running the same plays over and over, and Navy wanted it more, plain and simple.
Yeah, that was a surprise, and I wanted to rock because I love the fact
it's a great game.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go next year. Me and Johnny were talking about going. It's in Baltimore next year.
Yeah.
He was thinking it was in Philly or whatever, but it's
in Baltimore. I was talking to my cousin. They're doing like an East Coast thing.
Yeah.
Boston, ping pong in it, pinball in it.
Well, I think it's in Baltimore next year, and then MetLife the following year. Then it's back in Philly in 2027. But Baltimore is close enough, so I think we're gonna. Because I've never gone, the last it's on my sports bucket list, and the last 4 or 5 years, I always make it a point to get because I love the jersey theme. Like I got the one. The American flag. I know. I remember. Yeah, I've got them at least like the last 4 years, and I love this one with the Battle of the Bulge. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, I got to get that, John. You know what I've been looking for? But I can't find it anywhere online. The one from 2016 was the 82nd Airborne. My grandpa was in the 82nd Airborne, so I've been like trying to find it online because that jersey's like fire as shit. Like I really want to get that, but dude, you can't. You know, it's fuck that you can't find it anywhere, bro.
Yeah, you maybe go on West Point, ArmyWestPoint.com. You know,
Well, I did. Well, I went on the Army website. Yeah,
yeah.
it's hard to find. You know what I mean? Because that's one I would love to have. But yeah, I always try to make it a point to get the jersey. If not every year, most years. But I had to get this. This one's badass.
Absolutely.
I love this, John.
I was at the one where the kids fell down on the field at the vet.
Oh God, that was what was that? That was like late 90s, right?
Yeah, he was there. He was in college. No, it was late 90s.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, late 90s.
Yeah, my cousin was there. Funny thing is, I was around that vicinity where they were, this.
Mhm.
And I think my aunt and uncle called us back up. Lo and behold, when we get back up, they're cheering. They fall down. So I can only imagine if I was down there, would I be part of the chaos? Probably, but what a game. Hell of a game, great tradition. Like Bill Furman always brings up, it gets no better,
Yeah, definitely. And then to put a little bow tie on the game, Paul Spencer says, Navy took away Army's quarterback daily, and it was all over. Best rivalry in college football. I'll be at the Penn State SMU game, freezing his ass off in the snow. That'll be a good game too. And then here's our man Dave Yorno. He says, "Hey fellas, what Mr. Spencer forgot to say is the boys won 3 out of 4. It would have been 4 in a row if it wasn't for a bad bounce on special teams." That's true. I gotta give it to Dave because about a month ago when Dallas looked like absolute garbage, he commented and said, "Hey, he could see them making a run."
Yeah, he got the pom-poms out and all.
Yeah, but you know what though? He's honestly, he's been right. I think. I mean, they really could have won 4 in a row, and but honestly though, even though I hate the Cowboys, I don't mind it because as long as they don't get in the playoffs, like these wins are just screwing up their draft pick in my eyes. So, you know what I mean? So I don't mind them winning a few of these games. Maurice Wright says, "What team are you seriously concerned about as far as an opponent versus the Eagles in the playoffs?" I'll give you mine. They won a big game last night in Seattle. Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers are a good football team. And you know what? Tampa Bay, for some reason, Todd Bowles, I don't think he's the greatest head coach in the world, but he's a hell of a decent defensive mind. And for some reason, he seems to fuck with us, man. Todd Bowles, like always has a game plan versus Jalen and the Eagles. I really want no parts of Tampa Bay, to be honest with you. What do you think, Sean?
Oh, man. I mean, I'd probably say, what's the name? The Lions, but now with the running back situation, nah. But probably Green Bay, Yeah,
well, I was going to say, I took it as like not really who we were going to play in like the championship game.
Yeah,
Although you know what though,
don't count out Minnesota.
I was about to say that.
Yeah,
I actually think that Minnesota's going to win that division, and if that's the case, the Lions could be a 4 seed or I'm sorry, a 5 seed, and if we're the 1, we might have to play the Lions in the first round. That'd be tough.
Yeah,
but I mean, hey, you know what? We're going to have to beat whoever we got to beat. Maurice Wright says, "I'm seeing Dak on TV too many times lately. Cowboys are going to the playoffs." I don't think they're going to the playoffs, but they are playing a lot better. because you know what I mean. I don't think they're going to make it, but
There you go. You Paul.
you're one and done in the playoffs. Who said the preseason? Yeah, Dave, the Kool-Aid stale. And I agree with Paul on this one. Scary team is the Rams. Underdog Rams. The Rams are a good football team.
If he hit it right on the head, if they stay healthy, Cup, and that, let me tell you something. That defense is underrated, man.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but I said we beat the brakes off them, and then they beat the brakes off the Bills.
Yeah, the Rams.
And I mean, I'm like, am I really seeing what I'm saying? I mean, but hey, you know.
Well, you know, it not to keep tooting the Eagles' horn, but it it goes to show you what a good football team the Eagles are. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Think about in the past like month and a half. You know, you got a Washington team. Yeah. I mean, Washington's 9-5. You know, you could say that maybe they had an easy schedule, but 9-5 is 9-5. The Eagles beat them here. You know, then you go to the Rams, beat a really good Rams team there. Then the very next week you go to Baltimore, beat a really good Ravens team. Okay, we had to slip up versus Carolina, but bottom line is still won the football game. And then yesterday have a really good Pittsburgh Steelers team come here and really they kicked Pittsburgh's ass yesterday.
They did.
I mean, it was you know what I mean? It was 27-13. If the Eagles really wanted to, it could have been 34-13. I mean, they could have scored again. We beat their ass.
The time of possession was crazy, like you brought up. It was ridiculous. And that's key. A lot of people don't see that. But when you hold that ball, control the ball, you know, it's a recipe for victory. And that's what it was.
It was the biggest discrepancy in yardage in Mike Tomlin's coaching career. The Eagles had 401 total yards to 163 total yards. I mean, it was literally the biggest discrepancy in yards, and that's how good the Eagles were yesterday.
You know, like we said earlier in the show, if they keep playing the way they are playing, sky's the limit, man. You know, the defense is just hungry, and I just love the rotation. Like I said, you got Jackson Hunt, the rookie. You got Milton Williams, Ojomo, Booker, you know, Sweat coming out of the woodworks, you know. And I think sprinkling a little bit of the C.J. Davis guy, Bourne. Like, come on, man. Dean, you know, Nolan Smith.
Yeah.
Reed Blankenship, we didn't talk. That hit was a statement hit.
Yeah, when you said Jalix Hunt, I was thinking that sounds like a tax guy.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing. And special teams need to tighten up fast. You're right, but that's always been a problem. I mean, with me and you texting back and forth, they got to get their head out of their ass, like you said. You know, with the stupid holding, but just the return game, you just got to be more smart about it. But it's always been a problem for us.
Yeah. You know it is funny. We'll see Minnesota tonight because Minnesota hosts the Bears tonight. I think Minnesota beats. You know, now I just said I like the Bears versus Detroit next week.
Yeah.
I think Minnesota kicks the Bears' ass tonight, but I do like the Bears next week versus the Lions.
I know what you mean. Yeah, different element. Yeah.
Yeah, so. but and you know and you know I feel like when I watch Minnesota and you're seeing what Sam Darnold's doing, how good a football he's playing, like you're like I feel like as I'm looking at him, I'm like, this can't continue, and then every week it continues. And the one thing about the Vikings too, Vikings got tons of weapons, and the Vikings have a really good defense. Like Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator does a great job. He's a really good defensive coordinator.
They said he's probably up for another head coaching job. But if I'm him, if you're passionate, I get it. Being a head coach is like the main guy on the top of the mountain. But if you're that good as a defense coordinator, keep balling out, man. And then when you kind of had enough of playing defense coordinator, move on.
Yeah,
But
you
he
know,
got lowballed in Miami, so I can see something.
you know how it is with these guys, though, man. I mean,
Yep.
I'm sure he loves being a defensive coordinator, but he was a head man at one
Yeah,
point.
Miami. Mm-hmm.
You got to think he wants a shot to you. If he gets the opportunity, I got to think he's going to bounce.
Oh, it's a shot of redemption. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, no, it's because and like you said, the guy's such a good defensive coordinator that he could get another head coaching job, and if it doesn't work out, somebody will be like, okay, you know what, we'll bring you on. He's just the DC, like perfect. I'll give you an example. Steve Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo took that job with the Rams. The team. He got screwed with Sam Bradford because Sam Bradford got hurt all the time. He loses. He doesn't stay a head guy. But he's been a great defensive coordinator all these years, whether it be with the Giants or with Kansas City. So all right, well let's wrap up this football talk here. All right, first off, tough game next week down in Washington. I think the Eagles are favored. I think I saw 3.5 on FanDuel, but all right. So do the Eagles go down there and beat them?
Yeah.
Do they cover? And then we'll get predictions on the Monday night games. What do you think for next week?
Yes, they cover.
Okay.
When I'm gonna say 31-21.
Okay. Robbie Kelly with the comment here. Dave Yarner, I don't think they care, Dave. Haha. Oh, it must be about the Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right, and then tonight's game. Bears at Minnesota. Minnesota's favored by 7.
Minnesota.
Yeah, and they cover?
Yeah. They're gonna have a little 1-2 punch touchdown with Addison and Jefferson. Yes.
All right, and then there's actually 2 Monday night games tonight because you got Atlanta at the Raiders. Hang on, I forget what that line was. I'm gonna look now. What the fuck is it? Oh wait, hang on. All right, Atlanta at the Raiders. Atlanta's favored by 5.5 on FanDuel. That's a huge game for Atlanta, especially with Tampa. That's one thing that stuck out to me yesterday. Tampa Bay with I mean, I know Justin Herbert was banged up, but Tampa Bay took it to a good Chargers team out there, which again scares me a little bit. I prefer Tampa Bay not to get in. I don't like the matchup. But all right, what do you think of this Atlanta Raiders game though? Atlanta's minus 5.5.
Atlanta.
Yeah, the Raiders blow, and then I tell you, well, I would like to see. I think anybody that's a Raiders fan out there, I think it's in their best interest. Just tank and hope you get a quarterback because
Shador Sanders is going to them.
I'll tell you what, that would be a great fit. I feel like that kid in Vegas, I think would be. Here's a thought. I mean, and I kind of feel bad for Antonio Pierce because he had no prayer winning with that team. So he's going to be going. What do you think you could get Dion and Shador out in Vegas?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay. Maurice Wright said, "What's the spread? Eagles Washington." I'm pretty sure it's 3.5. I'll double check, but all right, I like it. I think I like Atlanta tonight too. It's 3.5 on FanDuel. I don't know what it is in anywhere else, but FanDuel's 3.5. So, all right, I like the Atlanta tonight. I like the Eagles next Sunday, and then I like Chicago beating Detroit, and then we just need Minnesota to lose. Now Minnesota plays at Seattle next week.
Seattle.
You think now we really could use Seattle to do us a solid and beat Minnesota next week.
If Geno Smith plays like that one game where he ran into the end zone like fourth quarter, yeah, I see them.
Yeah, I think Geno Smith got hurt though at the end of. I don't know the status of. I don't know how bad, but
this game, this yesterday's game, he got hurt.
Yeah, I fell asleep, but he left with a knee injury. So
Okay.
it says,
I didn't know that.
wait, well, that was 11 hours ago. Let's see if they have. Oh, it says Geno Smith injury update. Quarterback is optimistic this morning. So I guess we'll see,
Okay. So we'll see.
Yeah, for now, injury update. Yeah, McDonald not ruling out Geno Smith for next week. So
Okay.
I guess you know how it'll be. It'll probably be one of those things where you're wondering all week,
Just like Kenny Walker with me in fantasy, absolutely. So I know the pain. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean they did pick up Sam Howell. Now it's what's ironic. Sam Howell's pretty much sucked most against everybody just about, except for when he played the Eagles twice last year. He looked like Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
And that's Sam Howell was like dog shit versus just about everybody. But both games against the Eagles, he crushed us.
Yeah. He was a man on a mission.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, then that's that'll be next week. The Eagles with the big game next week. Then another thing I wanted to get. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's too depressing for me. But Sixers. Unfortunately, Sixers had a nice little run where they had won 4 out of 5. And then of course, right when they're starting to play good and all 3 guys are playing, not only does Embiid get hurt, but also McCain. Now McCain's out. So
for an MCL. Yep.
Yeah, really tough break. Now I'm looking at the Sixers here schedule. Sixers are in Charlotte. That game's going to start in about 10 minutes. So right now you got a Sixers team that is 7-16, but this Eastern Conference blows. Like Sixers are 7-16, but you got the Pacers as the 8 seed or 12-15, and you got the Hawks as the 7-14. So the bottom line is, it's going to be hard for them to get buried. You know what I mean? Even with Embiid out, just because this Eastern Conference sucks. But I got, you got Sixers this week are at Charlotte tonight. Friday, they host Charlotte. Saturday, they're at Cleveland. And then really disappointing about this one with Embiid getting hurt. Next Monday night, a week from now, it was going to be Victor Wembanyama coming here to play against Embiid. Now we're not going to have that matchup, unfortunately.
No, you're not. Yeah. Unless my man puts on the Phantom of the Opera mask. So it's been real.
Yeah, so that was a tough break. Flyers, we got, like I said, they've been playing decent hockey. Right now, they are 31 games. They're 14-13-4, 32 points. They had a couple good wins last week. Then of course, Minnesota beat their ass. This week coming up for the Flyers, they got some big games coming up. Wednesday, they're at Detroit. Thursday they host the Kings. Saturday they host Columbus, and then Monday they're at Pittsburgh in the rivalry match. So Sean, out of a possible 8 points, how many points the Flyers getting out of those 8?
5.
5? Okay, you know what? I'd sign up for that. That's I 5 basically is 2-2 with like an overtime loss or something.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, Wednesday at Detroit might be tough because they just beat Detroit here, so you got a revenge factor. Thursday you got the Kings here. Saturday you got Columbus here. All right, so I figure you're going to win. You're going to win at least one of the home games, maybe 2, and then Monday at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's kind of mediocre. They got 31 points. They're 13-14-5 with a negative 24 goal. Wow, negative 24 goal differential by the Penguins. That's in hockey. That's a lot of. It's weird. I feel like that means some shit in hockey.
It does. It's weird.
Maurice Wright says Sixers should tank the season, get a high pick, and build from there. That's where I'm at, Maurice. I mean, because that's where I'm at because Embiid's probably, they haven't said it yet, but he's probably going to miss at least 3 to 4 weeks. If I'm looking at the play-in, and then they and this team hasn't had time to gel, and we're just going to get our ass kicked in the first round anyway. I'd rather take a shot at lottery balls myself. I agree with you. He also says, don't be surprised if the Flyers win 3 in a row.
Hey,
hey man, let's hope.
Yeah.
Now that's one thing. Like the Flyers are rebuilding, but it's weird. I don't really want the Flyers to tank though. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
If they don't make the playoffs, hey, whatever, get another good draft pick. But I think they have like 3 first-round picks, and you got the Russian kid developed. Like I'd almost rather see the Flyers make the playoffs and build a culture, and then it gets and then they'll have some salary cap money in this offseason and next offseason where you can go make some trades and sign some guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Get that true center, like we said. Whoever it may be. But yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, here's our man, Pat Bernard. You can check Pat's show out on the, I believe it's Stream Punk.
StreamYard Punk.
Yeah. You check him out Sundays at 9. Well, he's all over the place, Pat. He covers Wings lacrosse. He's doing all kinds of stuff. But he said, "What's up, fellas? What's up, Pat? How you doing, bro?" But yeah, man. So that's the Flyers. We'll get more into Flyers. This time of year, let's keep it real. This time of year is mostly football. You know what I mean? I wanted to do a little Phillies, but we'll do. You know what? The fact that they haven't done shit, they don't really deserve too much of our time. I mean, I saw a couple rumors out there. It could be bullshit, but what did they say? They said Dombrowski offered Bohm and Castellanos for Tucker. Like, I can't believe that, because if I'm Houston's GM, I'm barely even answering the phone. I'm kind of laughing at that offer. You know what I mean? So, have you heard any
from Miller? And they said, "Nah, we're good."
Well, Oakland wouldn't do that.
Exactly. So that's another thing you don't believe.
See, I feel like this whole Alec Bohm thing, they've they're either maybe they're overplaying their hands. I mean, the bottom line is that a lot of these teams like just know that they want to get rid of him because of his attitude, and so that's going to take his value down. Like, truthfully, I think if you're the Phillies, I think I read that Bohm might get about $9 million in arbitration. And even though they have a problem with his attitude, for $9 million, I'm going to bring Bohm back and maybe try to work on his attitude, because, like, what the fuck, man? $9 million for what he gives you? I actually think that's really good bang for your buck. And if you're not going to get anything for him, then I think you got to repair that relationship and just bring him in and hope you get the first half Alec Bohm and not the end of the year.
Maybe he needs a good ass whipping.
Yeah, Pat with the Flyers comment. He said Flyers can't hang with the top tier teams in the NHL. Yeah, they're just not ready. I mean, they're a year and a half, 2 years away. Like you said, they need a frontline centerman. They need a top defenseman. They need at least like 2 or 3 really top-notch players, and then a few more depth pieces too. You know what I mean? So, any other thoughts on the Phillies, though? I mean, have you
brought up the polar bear?
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to get into. I forgot about that, Sean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now the only thing with that would be you'd have to play Schwarber in left, because they're not going to fuck with Harper, even though
no,
even
he's not going in the outfield.
Yeah, because the bottom line is Harper really improved at first last year, but the problem is that you need somebody in that lineup. Would you? I know Schwarber's a butcher in left, but honestly, to get Pete Alonso's, if you told me that Pete Alonso was going to be like, if you told me I could get Alonso for like 2 years, maybe like 2 years, like 40-some million or something like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, or like maybe 1 year, 25, 30 million. I bring him in, honestly, because
and you're playing the Mets. So
yeah, because I feel like if you brought Alonso in here at Citizens Bank Park, he's going to hit you at least 25 to 30 bombs. He's going to get you 75, 80 RBIs. He's going to walk. And the other thing is, too, you bring Alonso here, he's your cleanup hitter. Alonso's your clean. You bring him in here, you solve your cleanup hitter issue. Yeah. Would the defense suffer if Schwarber has to play a good amount of left? Yeah, but honestly, this lineup fucking blows, dude. Like I'm sorry. I know Rob Thompson and management and all like said, oh, we're gonna slug. Now you really don't. Like this
strike out.
Yeah, you saw it in the playoffs. I know it was only a 4-game sample size, but you saw it in the playoffs. The lineup this lineup goes cold way too often, and I would. Yeah, so the Alonso thing, I'm cool with bringing Pete Alonso in. I'll sign me up. I mean, I'd rather have an outfielder that hits good for defensive purposes. But if you're telling me that's the best move I can do, then I'll deal with the defensive issues. Like I'll maybe have Harper DH one or two times a week. I'll have Schwarber play left 3-4 days a week. You know what I mean? And I'll find a way to make it work because this, like they need something in this lineup.
Yeah, true.
So, but anyway, we'll get a lot more in. We'll get a lot more into the Phillies in the coming weeks because I mean, they haven't done shit. And but the off season sometimes in baseball, the best moves you make are as the off season goes on.
Exactly. Couldn't say it better.
Yeah, so let's hope somebody wake Dave Dombrowski up because we'd like to get a close. That's another thing. I'd like to get an actual closer. Like this closer by committee bullshit is okay at times, but I'm
over it.
Yeah, I would like to go get a Tanner Scott or somebody that could come that I go, hey, you know what? All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have Kerkering set up, we're gonna have Strom set up.
Alvarado. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Now Hoffman's still out there. I don't know if they're going to bring him back. They signed the dude from the Blue Jays last week. That was like
Romano.
Romano.
Yeah. So
we'll see what he can do, but I don't know. They got to do more than him, Sean. A 1 year, $7 million reliever. That's not going to cut it. So
that tickles you, but you need to do better.
Yeah, it doesn't even tickle me. That doesn't do shit. That's basically taking a chance on a guy that was good a couple years ago, and it's like a lottery ticket where he was really good for like 2-3 year stretch. He sucked last year because he was coming off an injury, and you're giving him a 1 year, $7 million deal is basically like, hey, you know what? We're banking on you. That's like years ago where they signed some of these guys. I'm drawing a blank. I had a guy in mind who the Phillies signed about 10, 12 years ago who was good elsewhere. They brought him in. He sucked here. I can't remember. But anyway, that's the kind of shit that they're doing,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we'll wrap up. We'll get more into the Phillies next week.
Yeah,
man. Go Flyers.
Yeah.
Phillies, somebody wake Dombrowski up. Maybe you can do something. Go Birds. Birds can clinch the division next week. Go Birds. So I'm going to say go Birds and go Bears. Honestly, go Bears twice. Go Bears tonight and go Bears next week.
Damn right. Go Birds. Let's go.
Hey, remember